Well, shit, I guess I should add myself to the stage. Welcome to Bull Blitz Uncut. Post-game edition, here we are, Chargers victory over the Miami Dolphins. Listen, it felt like a game that we've all seen before. I know the people in the chat, at least the ones that are here, appreciate y'all so much. You have no idea. It was a game that felt like it was slipping. I'm watching David Shaw. Appreciate you, of course, in the chat. Nice to have you here, man. We need you here more often. Matt Leoff, ML Bolt 72. Appreciate you as well. He's our official ML Bolts collectible card dealer. You'll see all of his options to purchase regarding his cards every Monday on the Bolt Blitz Uncut and the San Diego Chargers lovers Facebook pages. I'm Booga Peters. This was a game. It felt like a big loss to me. And I'm sure there's not a person in the chat or anybody else who watched the first half and said, well, shit. This feels familiar. We did get that dub. I see Oscar Portillo. Hola, ¿cómo estás? I know he's doing good. Because, goddamn it, los cargadores gana. We love it. When the Chargers win, it's time to celebrate. Obviously, I celebrate all day, every day. And that's why you see the goofy shit behind me. And that's why when we get on this show, we're drinking beers and we're having fun. This is Bolt Blitz Uncut. You guys are listening on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. We all appreciate everybody who does all of the things that they do, whether it's in the Bolt Blitz group chat, whether it's via the Facebook pages or Twitter account, X as some of y'all call it. We just can't. It's still Twitter to me. Chargers come out with a victory in a game in which they were playing the Miami Dolphins. It was set up to be a trap game. Oscar, who is in the chat, we talked about it, brother. It felt like a trap game. It felt like this was a game that was set up for the Chargers to lose. It did not end up being the case. Cameron Dicker, I don't know, the kicker. What do you know? Here he is again, nailing everything. He hit the 58-yarder, by the way, like it was just butter and smooth on that first attempt. Chargers end up settling for a field goal later in that drive by Dicker, of course. But I honestly want to start the show off before I start breaking down the game. And I put this in the group chat. It's the Bold Blitz group chat. It's probably the most exclusive group ever. I think we all take Cameron Dicker for granted. The Chargers fans and the Bolt fam, hashtag that shit, capital B, capital F, one goal, one Bolt, Super Bowl. We know what we're doing. Dicker literally he's the first kicker in a very, very long time. Whereas a Chargers fan, and I mean, I've been watching this shit for 4 decades, y'all, 4.5, if we're being real honest, close enough. And the Chargers kicking situation has always been something that we've always been concerned about. Nate Kading, literally at the time, was the most successful regular season kicker of all time. And then he gets in the playoffs against the Jets. You've seen the meme. You've seen the pick. 0 for 3 in that Jets game. I mean, you don't win in a playoff game where teams are running the ball and they can't tackle fucking Sean Green, Eric Weddle, Crow. Y'all owe that Bolt fam something. But anyway, you just if you're not able to do that, yeah, poor Nate. Yeah, he for whatever reason, when it came to the playoff opportunities, he just wasn't as clutch as he was during the regular season. What we forget about Nate Kading, by the way, and then we'll get back to the game. Nate actually was clutch in the regular season. It's just when it got to the playoff games, he didn't have shit. If you watch him really closely, wide-eyed, shaky, little hip movement that's unnecessary. I've talked to several kickers that have actually watched almost all of his kicks and have said, yeah, he really, in those games, in clutch moments, he wasn't just struggling for his lack of ability, because it wasn't that. That wasn't the issue. It was just the Kading when he got in those clutch moments. Some dudes are not built for that. Some cats are not built to deliver in those moments. David Shaw, we got you in the comment section. Dicker's pulse never gets above 10 beats per minute out there kicking field goals. Listen, he's automatic. What I love about it is no matter how often, there's been several times throughout the season, even though we're just 7 weeks in, 6, pardon me, to where we've seen Dicker have to kick a couple in a row, and he's done just fine, and he's delivered. And yes, he had a rough week here and there, but that being said, he's not accidentally the most accurate kicker in NFL history. It's nice to see the Chargers not have to deal with a money badger. We love Michael Badgley for a minute. We remember about all the random cats that these guys brought in. I mean, Rodriguez, you've all seen the fucking gigantic meme of his giant head laughing and smiling. Or no, it was Roberto Aguayo, excuse me. We all remember him, or maybe you forgot. Younghoe Koo decided to be able to kick after he left the Chargers. It's one of those Chargers curse things that I think old school Bolt fam are really familiar with. I'm just literally going to go over my notes from is this where we get free tuna? I was told we get free tuna. I'm going to let Brian Cates know this is not a place to get free tuna, but it's a free place to get stinky takes. It's something I'm more than willing to offer up. Let's go over my first. We're just going to go quarter by quarter and have a little fun here. Thought I'd have somebody with me, so I'm going to run with this, but I got this shit, dude. Don't sweat it. We're going to talk about the special team struggles because that's literally my first note. We watched Malik Washington of Miami return that first kickoff from the 1 to the 46. It's not what you expect from a Ryan Fick in special teams. It's got to get better. They have to find a way to elevate that unit. Now, we're out of bodies. And I said we're, and forgive me for that, but the Chargers, the special teams, the defensive units, they're out of bodies. The offensive line, they're out of bodies. Is that a coordinator issue? Is that a Greg Roman issue? Is that a Ryan Ficken issue? Is that a Jesse Minter issue? No. It's a Joe Ortiz issue. We've all been real excited about the depth that's been built around this team. How effective has it been? How often does it work? How often do these chance choices and selections, maybe get thrust into the position to succeed, and then they put the ball on the carpet like an Oronde Gadsden. Listen, that was a beautiful play by the defender, but when you're that guy, when you're Oronde Gadsden, you're an awkward mover anyway. It's a cradle and a clutch on both ends of the football, no matter what. It clearly was not that, and he had plenty of time to do it too. Watch the play again. He's moving across the field. He just didn't get to a point to where he tried to transition the ball where he could claw both ends. Tony Jefferson, motherfucker, he's closer to my age than he is most of the people that listen to this show. Tony Jefferson, phenomenal game again. We heard Jim Harbaugh, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, say that I don't know if it was a post-game press conference. I believe it was after a practice, saying that I want Tony Jefferson on the field. I need him on the field, and I would rather him be on the field. So what did we see happen a couple weeks, or it might have been 10 days or 2 weeks, maybe not quite 2 weeks later? The Chargers ship off Alohi Gilman, and listen, I want to do this, and I feel like it's fair. This show has never been a big Alohi Gilman fan. Not just when he was drafted, not during the years when other Chargers fans thought he was doing great. There were too many times where it felt as though, and forgive me if I'm wrong, he was the breakdown in coverage. He was the miscommunication. He was the poor angle. He was a missed tackle. He gets swapped out for a pass rusher like Odafe Oweh, and he goes to the Ravens, the other Harbaugh coach team. And I don't know if y'all watched today's game, and that's my segue into the next part. Odafe Oweh. If y'all aren't paying attention already, listen, this is a guy who has something to prove. If you did not see his responses on social media, he was very upset. He was a guy who it felt like he was taking it personally that he was traded. Gilman, he felt more bewildered when I watched his interview. I'm happy to be here, but, taken aback and surprised. And it's like, well, listen, man, I watched you in coverage. I wasn't too surprised. The fact that you were the piece that got us a rusher like Odafe Owe. Listen, I understand he has some deficiencies, but the fact that he was able to put up 10 sacks last year, and I love that. Hey, ML Bolts Collectibles, by the way. Stay tuned for what he has to give away for tonight and every Monday on the San Diego Chargers Lovers page and the Bolt Blitz Uncut page. You'll see the giveaways, just a free shit. And then also Matt Lidioff of ML Bolts Collectibles, he'll also put some shit out there that he puts for you to be able to purchase. There's some really special autograph stuff that if you're really trying to get a child involved in the Chargers or maybe make them more in tune with what this Chargers team is really about, I'll tell you right now, it starts with football cards. It's hard for the younger generation to really buy into that and believe in it, but I promise you, don't do the goofy shit where you're spending money on breaks or you're buying boxes worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Don't do that. Tune in to Bolt Blitz Uncut. See what ML Bolts Collectibles has for you. Again, if you don't tune into the show on YouTube, you can find him on both of our Facebook pages. Yes, that's the old people app, but I don't know if y'all have paid attention at all. I'm a little bit old. You can find him on San Diego Chargers Lovers, and then, of course, the Bolt Blitz Uncut page. We're going to keep moving forward. We're going to go to the comment section because I already told the comment folks we were going to rely on them tonight. David Shaw, I agree. Both hands cradling. I was screaming at the TV. Here's the deal. And David Shaw is 1,000% right. But what I want to do, too, is while we're sitting here criticizing the greatest athletes on the planet, because they really are if they're in the NFL, I can't do that. I cover the ball well. I claw it good with one hand, but I'm not strong enough to not have a dude fucking strip the ball from me. It just doesn't work like that in the NFL. Those are different cats. But listen, if and when we as Bolt fam and Chargers fans are noticing that the guys need to cover up the ball, it's probably true. It's probably true. And hashtag that shit. Capital B, capital F, Bolt fam. He was a beast. Number 98, ML Bolts, our collectibles guy. Listen, he's talking about Odafe Owe. It wasn't just that he was successful as a pass rusher. And obviously, they wouldn't have brought him in solely to pass rush. Although at this point, I think everybody would agree with me that the pass rush has been anemic at best. Though Thule, all the flowers in the world, man. I don't know how you keep playing the way that you do, even when the interior is inconsistent, despite the fact that Tart's playing out of his mind. Thule has found a way to be effective. And what he did today, by the way, which no one will talk about because he didn't rack up a bunch of sacks. We watched Odafe Owe get home several times. But what Thule does now is he's put enough on tape to where opposing defensive coordinators, they're putting multiple blockers on him. He's getting double teamed now. Tui Pelotu, congratulations. Welcome to the NFL, because once you start to get double teamed, it means you fucking earned it, brother. We're so proud of you. The Bolt fam loves you, dude. We're really always rooting for you. We know that at one point at USC, you were a 290 guy, and now they got you playing at 270 or where the fuck it is. But no matter where your weight is at, the Bolt Blitz family and the hashtag Bolt fam, capital B, capital F, we believe in you, man, and we appreciate all the effort you put in. Odafe Owe coming out party. The interior off defensive line. Tierra Tart showed up a little bit. One really rough penalty. And then James Allen, my boy, I see you. Hello, fuckers. Sorry I'm late. There aren't a lot of shows that read a comment like that, but shit, man, if I'm going to drop F-bombs all the time, why would I not let my future security and now help me build my house up to be better in February, James Allen, get a comment in here. Listen, James, man, no need for you to ever apologize about anything. It was a game where we were throwing shit all over the place in the chat, and it felt weird. I mean, when I start to talk about my notes, literally from the very beginning, Special team struggling again, not what we expect from Ryan Ficken. Allows 45-yard kick return by Malik Washington of Miami. And then what happened shortly after that? Jeff, old Mother Hubbard, Tony Jefferson with that caromed interception. Jim Harbaugh, as we talked about several minutes ago, Jim Harbaugh talked about the fact that, listen, we want Tony Jefferson on the field. It's not just we want him on the field. We need him on the field. We need him to be there. That's where I prefer him to be. He was a practice squad guy, and then Harbaugh said, I don't know. He's making too many plays. He's shown me too much. What did he do tonight? In the first quarter, interception. It was very nice, by the way, to see Trey Harris step up early, considering, I don't know about y'all, but I was a little surprised that Quentin Johnston wasn't able to play tonight. And I think that we're going to use this opportunity, and Bolt fam and Bolt Blitz fuckers, y'all listen for a minute. He was missed. He didn't play tonight. Quentin Johnston was missed. He was missed, today, not tonight. Sorry. 10 a.m. start. I can't say tonight. 10 a.m. on the fucking weird coast. Quentin Johnston was missed. He is literally a major part of this offense. And if you did not recognize that or understand that during this broadcast of the game, then you got a bad angle or you just didn't have enough time to watch. The way that this offense is set up, and y'all really don't want to hear this, it's really set up to run through Quentin Johnston. Oh, but where's Hampton? What about not? Well, they're not there. They're both on IR. As you start to look at the way that Greg Roman develops his pass concepts, and 80 has talked about this on the show. He's talked about it in the group chat. Quentin only has a few routes that he's really effective at running. But that being said, he's so good at them that he's in the top 5 in most of the critical receiving yardage and wide receiver statistics right now. Even though he missed today, by the way, he's in the top 10. Sorry, top 10. Probably not top 5 after today. Forgive me for saying that, but top 10, sure. We talked last week with Ryan DePaul, whom we hope is a frequent guest on this show. And it was just, it is. And we've seen him on Twitter because everybody sees his shit on Twitter or X or whatever you call it. Even Ryan's given Quentin Johnston his flowers. It's that time of year, by the way. We're in Michigan. Everything's getting cold at night, so the spiders and the bugs come inside. So if you see me swatting, it's not because I'm tripping on acid. Not this time. Not this time. Hey, so James, I love what you just said. And James Allen, by the way, I appreciate you. Cannot wait to meet you in person finally. Almost a decade and a half later. But anyway, he's going to come out here and help me with some shit because he's smarter at me at putting houses together and taking them apart. And that's why he's going to be out here. But this is it. He gives Oscar his flowers. Thule does okay up the middle. If 80 was listening right now, he'd jump in and be so angry that he's not getting his flowers. When you sneak those routes in, QJ can be an all-pro weapon. Agreed, 1,000%, James. And then Brian Cates, our human bowling ball, is the third shortest player to gain 100. Hey, I don't know the list, but I bet Brandon Oliver or Darren Sproles is on that list. And if they get bored enough in Los Angeles, they may need to ask somebody else who. Nah, we ain't trying to do that. The Chargers fucking win. Listen, 4-2. And I know this is going to sound goofy to everybody, but everyone's going to agree with me in the same vein. 4-2 feels so much better than 3-3. You started out 3-0. You beat all 3 division opponents. Travel to New York, across the country. Because remember, all you do as a Chargers team is fly the fuck everywhere. You go to Brazil and fucking New York and Kansas City is just, we'll give you a home game every now and then. The Chargers, I feel like, and if nobody's paying attention, I would imagine over the last 20 years, they've traveled at least, and I mean this, and maybe if I'm off, I'm off. Somebody find the data. Y'all can do it. It's 2025. I would guarantee the Chargers have probably flown 20 to 30,000 more miles than any other team in the last 10 years, because that's just what happens with the Chargers. It's just what happens. We're back to the chat because I promised I'd get all these cats involved. James Allen, man, I feel like Vidal played good against a garbage-led team. I don't care for Vidal. So let me tell you, the Troy running back, the Troy product, and that James is talking about, I don't trust him. I'm not a big fan of him. James, we got to warm up a little bit. We got to hit a little lighter to the wax, if you will. And you know what I mean, brother. We got to light them up a little bit. We got to give Vidal a little more time. We have to remember whom he's running behind, that offensive line. Listen, just because there's a spot here and there that can pass block, they can't really block at all. The fact that they won this game, it's not a miracle to me, because you better fucking beat Miami. Listen, it's not like I did the goofy shit that some of us do where we guarantee a victory. They needed to win this game. We all watched the first half, and I'm looking through my notes, and it's not good. And we watched the Chargers take a 58-yard field goal off the board. I don't know about y'all, but I'm old. I'm really, really old. I will never, ever, 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 ever be a fan of taking points off the board, especially when you have your guy he's kicking a 58-yard field goal, and what do they end up settling for? A 35-yard field goal. The first quarter ends up 6-7. I'm getting worried. How does the second quarter start? A Jamari Caldwell penalty. Shit. Well, David Shaw, we're going to talk about him in a minute, and I'll talk to you for a second. I can't wait. We get that Caldwell penalty, but the beginning of that second quarter starts to happen. Hey, there's somebody's in here. And then we see Kamani Vidal start to warm up a little bit. An extensive run, an extension with a couple broken tackles. As much as I want to pick on him, I'm incapable of giving him a hard time due to his performance tonight. He had a good game. It wasn't a Brandon Oliver game, who, for whatever reason, we were the first people to we were the first people to ever interview Brandon Oliver. For those who are listening, and I know this group, David Shaw, James Allen, Matt Lidioff, they all know who Brandon Oliver is, because that's when I was hot. And Brandon he won't respond, and I don't know if he's not willing to come on the show, but Brandon, you're on notice, man. We're both family, ain't trying to point it out to you, but you know that I will. I'll send you another instant message. You looked at the second quarter starting. We'll get back to that. Dicker, another field goal. It's 9-7, and it's just like, what are we doing? That being said, are we taking him for granted? We covered that earlier. Dicker, that's the man right now. I've never felt more confident or comfortable with the kicker in my entire life when it comes to the Chargers. I tried to buy into the Kading thing, but we've already said too much. We've already seen it all. We already saw the Kading story play out. I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing. I hope he's well. I doubt it. I doubt it. Richie, is it? Richie Farley, congratulations. Hey, listen, we celebrate. Listen, nobody understands this about me. No one ever will point this out about me, but we include everybody we can when we can. We bring the folks that aren't expected to be at certain practices. It's been a minute. But Richie, congratulations openly on the show about your koozie edition. Richie's doing some field reporting for them, man. I just want to give him the biggest. I know hugest isn't a word, and you can throw some shit at me for saying that, Richie. I just want to give you a big shout out, man. I couldn't be more proud of you. You left the scoop thing a long time ago, and the fact that you're here and you provide what you do in the group chat and you do what you do here, it matters, and it will always matter. There are very few people I will ever root for more than you, and taking the time on my show to make sure that you know that will always be worth every second. All the love, brother. All the love. We got Matt in the chat, of course. We got James, another guy, of course, from the Bull Blitz group chat. We're into the second quarter. And literally in all caps, sloppy as fuck game. Miami field goal, 10-9. Fish Chargers relinquish a lead where they had several opportunities to score touchdowns. And here we are, 3 scoring opportunities, 3 field goals. Thank God for Dicker. 10-9 the Fish. And boy, I'm not happy about it. KLS, by the way. No, he prefers to go by Dre. Keandre Lambert-Smith, it was cool to have you see that resurgent kick return. I hope it provides you with something moving forward, because as much as we've all kind of trashed on Darius Davis on this show and anything Blitz related, as much as we appreciate and love speed, when you're not breaking tackles and you're averaging a very low amount here and there when it comes to your returns, it's not something that we're overly excited about. We want Darius Davis back. Do not get me wrong. But it was nice to see Dre, KLS, have a solid return, because I really do believe that it's something that he can work on moving forward. The kick returns and punt returns are weird. And if you've never done those, I need you to understand something. The ball does really weird things. There are left-footed kickers, right-footed kickers. Punts are far harder to return. But when you're on that kickoff, there's the added strain of, with the new rules, everybody's just waiting for you, bro. Wherever the ball goes, whoever's back there, usually it's 2 guys. I would always have at least 2 if I were the special teams coordinator, and Ficken's doing that. And we'll talk a little bit about his struggles here in a minute. But we're dealing with a different game. In the Chargers, listen, let's just move forward. Sorry, I don't want to get lost. I literally have at the end of the second quarter, Chargers struggling everywhere. Offense, special teams, can't block anybody. Bobby Hart moving early. God bless it. How many people felt confident after like 3 snaps of Bobby Hart? There will be 0 comments saying, oh, yeah, sure. He looked great. He was somebody I thought I could believe in moving forward. I want to say this too, because it piggybacks off of last week, and everybody needs to give a little credit to the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, because listen, he's dealing with a horrible offensive line, decimated beyond belief. Though they couldn't have planned for Slater and all to be out, they could have planned on the ineptitude of Zion and Bozeman. We've talked about it ad nauseum. We'll do it on the show forever. We'll do it last year. We'll do it next year. We'll do it 10 years from now. We'll do it in the past, in the future, whatever it fucking takes. But to see the fact that they actually integrated a screen into the offensive game plan after giving Hampton a couple last year, I think it was 3 actually, which was kind of nice because he had 1. No, he might have had 0 actually. Forgive me. I think all the screens prior to that were wide receiver screens. But to see the screen to Disley, it was nice to see he could still catch a ball and that he's still a Charger and that he still, takes up space in his own way. The Greg Roman offense has evolved into something different with the way that this offensive line has been decimated. It's now a passing offense, and we saw it from the beginning. I don't believe that it was like Roman being this innovative genius. I believe it was Harbaugh, Roman, Ortiz saying, dude, I don't know if we're set up for fucking success here. This could be a huge fucking problem. We're going to go right back to the chat. I've never bought a Kicker's jersey from Oscar Portillo, my dog. Really thinking about getting number 11. If you were going to think about getting, fuck the English, whatever, a jersey as a Texas boy who drives truck all over our nation and helps so many of us get the goods that we need. Appreciate you, Oscar, man. That's one of the main reasons you're in the chat. You're similar to James. It's not just y'all are incredible Chargers fans. You allow the other men in the chat to see what it's like to support their family the right way. And I want to give you the props on air while we're doing it. If you're going to buy a Kicker's jersey, I think Dicker might be the one. We got duped a little bit or a lot of bit, depending on how you look at it with Katie. But that boy Dicker, and he's had a couple of rough spots. But I don't know that I've ever believed in a kicker more than him. And y'all need to know how much I love John Carney. I've tried to get him on 15 shows, but I've done it the wrong way. I've always done it when a Chargers kicker is slacking or having a tough time. And John is so much of a kicker, Mr. Carney, I should probably say, is so much of a kicker that he's like, nah, not willing to talk about these guys while they're in a slump. I don't want to be a part of why they stay in it. Kudos. Very, very, very much appreciate that and his stance. We'll get him on here eventually. Y'all know how we do it here. Y'all listen to Bolt Blitz Uncut on YouTube. I still do the radio intro or re-intro, if you will, every now and then because I can't fucking help it. I'm your host, Booga Peters. I'm running solo tonight. It wasn't expected, but that doesn't matter because there have been times where I have not allowed this show to take place when I was going to go solo because, listen, this is going to sound horrible, but it's hard to host a show that you were supposed to host with your co-host who died. No one thinks about that part. No one. I got you, James. You're coming out here in February. No reason for me to ship it. I got something special for you along with that. Listen, my co-host died, and I'm not even going to talk. No, actually, I will. Fuck it. Why not? We're talking Miami Dolphins Chargers victory over those fucking fin finders. The fins up. Small confession. I'll make this very short. I stole Bolt Up from the Dolphins. When I saw Fins Up, I thought that was the dumbest thing. I thought Bolt Up would sound better. Don't ask anybody, but if you feel like getting it out, that's why Bolt Up is out there along with Bolt Fam. Hate that shit. But here we are. I'm all alone trying to figure this shit out. My dad loved Carney. James, listen, everybody should have loved Carney because he won a lot of games. The worst part about Carney's career, truly, and I think most people know this who followed him after his Chargers career, is he's, incredible for the Chargers. At the time, the most accurate kicker in Chargers history. And then when he was a kicker for the Saints, Jacksonville had that wonky play at the end. Where the Saints had that wonky play at the end where they literally lateraled it 50 times and they were set up to win. It was just a Carney field goal, but it was John Carney as a Saint. He ended up billowing that and he pulled it, and it was a really bad situation. And people don't understand what Carney did for the Chargers. Man, I'm calling ML Bolts. I see you. Carney's still catching waves. No, David. So it's not that he's catching waves, but I will say this, and he's definitely not catching strays. I don't give anything shit to him. Carney, he does his thing. He just, like I mentioned, he's not willing to talk poorly about kickers, and I get that, especially while they're in slumps. We saw some Derwin James tonight. Let's get back to the game. I've been unfair, and I got skirted out, and thank God for James and David Shaw and Matt Ladioff and Oscar for pulling me back in because I'm sitting here running by myself. We're getting back to the third quarter. Seeing Derwin James make some plays again, he had a couple rough weeks. Deion Henley, he's had several rough weeks since he obviously had whatever the severe illness was. They haven't been clear on what that was, but whenever you lose 15 to 17 pounds or whatever the hell it was, 12 to 17, you're a different football player. You're just a different human being. All of us have had some really rough nights via maybe the best or worst Hispanic food, no matter where we've been. And you can lose weight in a hurry, especially depending on your body's ability to retain water. So for him to do that in the time that he did and still continue to play, I hope that before you're too critical on Henley and his what would be considered probably a less than optimal performance, I hope you're willing to say, yeah, that's tough because I'm a real human being and I can't do what he does. These are the best athletes in the world. One way, whether you like it or not, these NFL cats are different. They're faster, stronger. They do all the shit. They're not just track athletes. They do it all. Let's make sure we give them their flowers. Deion Henley, we miss you being at the level you were at. But let's get back to the chat. My friend said even the seats of Hard Rock stadiums are in BPL state. I thought that shit was hilarious. So we can go there. I like that, actually. So let's rewind. This is a fun story. Y'all will love this if you haven't heard it 1,000 times, unless you're the Bolt Blitz chat and you've heard it 2,000 times. Speaking of Miami and Dolphins fans, there was the 2013 draft. I've posted it on the San Diego Charger Lovers page. I've posted on the Bolt Blitz Uncut page recently, and it showed the Chargers taking DJ Fluker. talking about BBLs and Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. So during that draft, I went there with a former friend, and we got a hotel, and he was never going to get any because of who he was, and he's a dirtbag, but I was always going to. I almost said her name, my God, but we had a gal. I had a gal from Miami who was a friend of mine who was very interested in hanging out. And when everybody hears my response and my reaction to the DJ Fluker being drafted thing, and it's like, oh, he hated the pick so much he left. I did. I fucking hated the pick. I knew it was going to be the pick too. I honestly thought it'd be Chance Warmack, but it ended up being DJ Fluker. And DJ, listen, we used to be Twitter followers and Facebook friends, and we're clearly not that anymore. I can understand why. But listen, the real reason I left is when you have a Cuban hot mama with that thing in the backside, you find a way to get home. I found out Keenan Allen was drafted in the 3rd round while I was on my way back to the hotel. I don't regret it. Charge me for it. Hate me for it. Everybody hates me for one reason or another. We're doing the radio thing. This is Bold Blitz Uncut. I'm Booga Peters. Thank you for tuning in. We've got a really special episode coming up later this month on Tuesday, October 28th. We're doing the Bolt Blitz fucking ice cream mixer. It's not the Catalina wine mixer. It's just better. It's better because we're going to eat ice cream with the AFC West savants. We've got Amy Trask, the Princess of Darkness from the Raiders, stopping in. Oh, by the way, it's her idea. When the Princess of Darkness, yes, she's from the Raiders. Bear with me. Oh, when she requests an ice cream party, you give her an ice cream party. We've got Matt Harmon, former producer of Good Morning Football, and now the producer of the Kay Adams Show. If you don't think I'm going to ask him about why she went after Herbert, you're wrong, and we're going to do it while we're eating ice cream. I'm just trying to line up a good show for you guys. And then our Raiders guy, maybe we'll make that a surprise. I don't know. Will we do boats and hoes? Oscar is asking. Listen, what y'all have no idea, and I don't even know if the Bolt Blitz group chat knows this. Opera Performance Major, Class Singer Award, Perfect Ones at Solo and Ensemble Festival, Regional Honors. I mean, like, National Honors solos with hundreds of people there. Y'all have no idea how this cat sings. It will come out. Easy, Bert Grossman. Don't you take that the wrong way. But yeah, we could do boats and hoes. We can do any song y'all want. We can do anything. We can do ordinary. We can do whatever. We can do whatever song y'all like. Let's get back to the 3rd quarter because so much happened. There's a guy that we've been very critical of during this Bolt Blitz Uncut run, and that's Benjamin St. Juste. I hated the signing from the beginning. I understood it because he fits that mentor build, that tall, lanky corner. Good in zone, struggles in man. He had an INT for the Chargers. It was his first pick. Really proud of him because it was really more of a read thing than it was him using his athleticism and his size to get in a position to make the play. To see Ben St. Juste do that, it does give me a lot of confidence moving forward because if you haven't been paying attention, Cam Hart has been struggling lately. And we'll see what happens. If you watch last week's game tape, you're really gonna be frustrated with Hart for the times that he was in the game. Obviously, he wasn't a factor today. Kamani, no, I love doing this too. And you're like, why is he skipping around? Why would he do such a thing? The Kamani receiving touchdown, here's why I like that. Last year, his only major touch that anybody could give him any credit for was that wheel route. And he caught that receiving touchdown. It's like, ugh! As Charger fans, we're all excited. It reminded me of oh God, who was that fucking fullback? The fullback who had the touchdown early in his first season and then didn't score the rest of the year. But anyway, that was 3 or 4 years ago. But seeing that happen was obviously great. Kamani having another receiving touchdown and running as hard as he did, he had over 100 yards. I mean, I was picking on him in the group chat. I was picking on him any other place that anybody would listen to me. And it's just because I haven't seen enough. And then this afternoon, it was nice to see him do what he could do. We're going to go straight to the fourth quarter. And by the way, we're going to reinforce we're taking Dicker, the kicker, for granted. 1,000%. There aren't a lot of games you're going to win when your kicker has to kick field goals that often because there's a chance he's probably going to miss one or maybe even more. To see him be that accurate and do what he did today and be that consistent, reliable piece, I really, really hope that that's something the Chargers can build around. And by saying that, I mean that as they develop, God, please, in the coming years, next year, of course, along the offensive line and the defensive line, if they can find ways to allow the defensive line to provide more pass rush, and then the offense to control the game more on when it comes to eating up the clock. A guy like Cameron Dicker, who is, I don't want to say automatic, we know better. We're Chargers fans. But when you have a guy like Dicker, you really can win games with a kicker like that if you're playing strong defense and then your special teams in accordance with him and your offense is running the ball well. You're chewing up clock. You're allowing points to get on the board. And by the way, I don't know, that Omari and Hampton guy's pretty good. He was only my favorite guy in the entire draft class. Ended up a Charger. Sucks to hear. By the way, if you guys haven't heard, and shit, earlier reports from today were that Omari and Hampton is probably going to miss more than the 4 weeks of what it would be considered his originally constituted IR stay. That's obviously a problem because Najee is out for the entire year, though Kamani and Vidal look good today-ish in a lot of different situations. If you know running backs in the passing game and pass blocking, you'll see where he struggled. It won't be that hard. But he did have a solid game, and we're going to give him his flowers because he deserves it. But like ML Bolt 72, that's our boy Matt Ladioff. He's saying, "Yep, Vidal was something to watch," and it's cool because I mean, if you've been a Charger fan for any minute, we've been rooting for these undrafted guys and these lower drafted guys for a very, very long time, decades when it comes to the backfield, and we've seen some really special ones come out of these draft decisions and free agent decisions that the Chargers administration has made. Again, we were just giving Dicker his credit. Incredible catch by Ingle. DJ missed interception. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Derwin James has been so close on about 5 or 6 picks in the last 3 weeks. I need you to understand he's going to get there soon. He's going to have a couple game-changing ones. The one he missed today obviously was a big one. That one hurt. It hurt. The next note that I have here is important for me to point out to all Chargers fans, both offensively and defensively. And it's something we've talked about in the chat. Yeah. Oscar pointed out regarding Hampton. It's more like 6 weeks, and it really is. So my concern with that, and Oscar, I'm not trying to piss on your parade or Richie's either. If they're starting to hint or refer that it may be longer, it just means it's probably a much more serious ankle injury than they're willing to admit. And he's a young guy, and they're hoping he recovers from it sooner. That would be my guess. Or they're just doing the Harbaugh thing, and they don't want to tell folks shit, which is also a Charger thing too. So we get that. What I had started talking about prior to that is the Chargers on both offense and defense. They're lacking speed, man. There are no burners. There are no burners. You're like, oh, Darius Davis. He's not a wide receiver. Stop it. He's a kick returner, punt returner, and he's been struggling a little bit while healthy when he does that. Lad McConkey, fast guy. They don't route him up like that though. They're not putting him on anything deep ever. He's not running 9s or bang 8s. He's not doing that shit. That's not how they factor him into the game. When Quentin Johnson is not in the game, they literally don't have a guy that they trust deep. I don't know about you, but that concerns me. That makes me incredibly concerned. When you get to the playoffs, you're probably not going to have to be that concerned about the passing game, especially the deep passing game. But as the Chargers and the Bolt fam navigate themselves through the rest of this season, as we figure out who this team is and what they can do regarding the offensive line and how horrible it is, you're going to have to reap a little bit of what you sowed, so to speak. Joe Ortiz, Jim Harbaugh. Well, folks, Bolt fam, they asked for this, man. We're running it back with Zion. at left guard. We're bringing back Bradley Bozeman. What? March 10th, 2025. I remember the fucking day. They re-signed him, and I was like, what are they doing? What's the justification? How does it make sense? And it's easy to just pick on the left guard and the center thing because we've been doing it forever and for 2 years. It's not just that. You were okay with paying Trey Pipkins because of the amount that he had on his contract to be your swing tackle. Y'all saw him at tackle. We knew better. Everybody knew better. The administration, the front office had to fucking know better. But it was, we're going to figure it out. Because we have Slater and all. And no matter what, in between those cats, we can get it done. Not if your quarterback's having to scream at the center the second before the ball is snapped because the center says, left, left, left. And he's literally trying to fucking slide the line. And your quarterback's saying no. And then your center in response as he's snapping it says, God damn it. It wasn't just that he knew he was fucking up. He did it anyway. He's like us. Normal people. He's like children. The ones that know better. They just fuck up. That Chargers offensive line was intentionally allowed to be here again. The Mekhi Becton signing, awesome. That's great. We talked about it on every show. Preseason, offseason, whatever. Phenomenal at Philly. Cool. You're playing with an all-world. Literally an all-world offensive line. Becton played well. Stayed healthy-ish. Hasn't been the case. And now he's, figuring out a hand thing. The Chargers offensive line next week, it could be devastatingly boring, or it may just be exciting because it's so horrible. We really have no clue at this point. But as I go through the notes of this game, I know Ladd had the early touchdown, but we talked about it several shows ago. At what point does Ladd get frustrated? At what point does Ladd McConkey say, I was the only viable option forever? All last year, look what I did in the Houston game. We're heading towards month 2 of the 2025 season. Ladd McConkey's trailing, I believe, Quentin Johnston for sure in both receptions and yards. And then Keenan Allen, Mr. Reliable, maybe not so much today, in receptions and yards as well. Should that be where he sits? Should they find a way to rely on him more? Or am I not watching the tape closely enough and finding out if he's part of the problem? I don't know. And maybe one of you members of the Bolt fam can chime in and help me out and tell me what's going on with it. But it's getting rough. And I see the Ladd thing, and he obviously had a few clutch catches. But if I'm him, I'm frustrated. I want 10 targets if I'm him. I'm the best receiver on that team, whether Quentin Johnston is healthy or not. Oscar, yeah, sure. So, listen, I picked on Gadsden earlier for the fumble. You got to cut. I mean, come on, man. My hands aren't that huge. I got 9-inch hands, but bigger than Ola Fashanu, but that's none of your business. But I'm covering the ball up, and I'm clawing it. He's got to know that with a thin frame. And the fact that he's a rookie, when people see him, defenders see him, and they don't recognize him, it's all going for the ball or chopping the fuck out of his legs because he's a tall, lengthy target. But 7 catches, 68 yards. Let's piggyback off that, and y'all know I'm willing to do that. Oscar, I'm gonna go off of what you just said. Should Oronde Gadsden, the second, be involved more in the offense? Yeah, absolutely. They've got to find a way to do it. The problem with doing so is they don't have the blocking they need to be successful with a guy like Gadsden in the lineup because he struggles mightily as a blocker. He's effective. You can do a lot of things with him as a receiver. I actually like him so much more than Conklin that I wish he would get every snap before Conklin ever sees a Chargers field ever again. He doesn't even deserve to wear lightning bolts, but those trash talk group owners decided to tell me that I was ignorant. He's ignorant now, bro. He's looked pretty fucking bad, but we all knew that from the beginning. Miss you, appreciate you, love you, but whatever, dude. Love to see Gadsden doing what he's doing. Love to see Gadsden doing what he did today. The fumble hurt. It felt like that was kind of the start of what could be a Chargers avalanche, if you will. It didn't end up being the case. I literally have in my notes 7 times. Achane too fast. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Chargers have to get faster on defense. Period. It's not just defense; they have to get faster on offense too. We like Quentin Johnson, and he's a long-legged strider and whatever. Lad's a 4.37 guy or whatever it was that he ran. That's cool. The Chargers have to find somebody. Maybe it's KLS. Maybe it's Dre, as he prefers to be called. I don't know who it is. But offensively, they have to find some guy who can run those 9s, who can run those bang 8s, and not just take the top off the defense, but be a threat on every play. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if they're on the roster. The people that get paid way more than I do will be the ones to figure that out. Defensively, there are running backs like there aren't a lot as fast as Achane. It's Achane, excuse me. But when you know that you're going to face a team like that, how you don't have contains on the outside and then a collapse from your edges to literally seal off the edge and use the sideline as your friend. That's either a mentor thing or poor execution by the defense. That's something that we'll have to keep an eye on. We're heading into minute 52 on a solo show. My boy Oscar, Conklin is awful. I don't even care if you misspelled that by accident. He is Conklin. He's horrible. I tried to tell everybody who would listen, but, Chargers fans are like me. They're not that great at listening. It's been a weird season. They start off 3-0. 3-0 in the division. Woo! How many people were just like, my God, this is it? It's starting to feel good. I've been around for too long to feel that way necessarily, but I have to admit, maybe a little bit I was starting to feel duped. I was starting to lean into that a little bit. That being said, they're 4-2. Chiefs have a losing record. Chargers are still 3-0 in the division. It's something to really hang your hat on. There are a lot of games left. So much can happen. The Chargers can only get unhealthier, so to speak. So we sit here, we wait, and we hope for the best. Again, hope is not a strategy. For those of you out there who are using hope as your driving force, figure out a real one. Y'all can do it. And if you ever need any advice, Bolt Blitz is an interesting group. We can always help anybody. We're going to wrap up the show. Sloppy angles. God, if I see one more of that. The sloppy angles and the poor tackling. By the way, I think tonight it wasn't as bad because I literally have in my notes, not as bad as last week or the week before. It's truly because Alohi Gilman is no longer a Charger. There are very, very, very few people who would disagree with that unless you actually don't pay attention to the games at all. Before we let this thing go, I've talked about, I keep saying we, but it's just me. I've talked about making sure that the chat's included. James Allen, I knew it was too good to be true. And what he's talking about is the 3-0 thing, it felt like an apparition. It just didn't feel real. It's a 3-0 thing. And oh my God. And it's in the AFC West. It's division games. I mean, they have losing records and horrible division records for I don't know how long. And then they go 3-0 to start the season. They still have 3 more to go with the same teams. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a weird season. The loss to the Giants was one that I tried to kind of disguise, if you will, as a needed wake-up call. And the Commanders game was one of the when I say one of the worst coach games I've seen in a long time, I put it more on Harbaugh and Minter and Roman than I do. Well, less Roman, by the way. But Harbaugh and Minter than I would ever even Joe Ortiz. The Commanders game was really, really, really bad. Today had a chance to go that way as well. They found a way to sneak it out. They found a way to put it together. And I think that there's something to be said for that. a Staley team doesn't win that game. They don't take the lead earlier in the game like we talked about. We got some shit to watch tonight. I think Mac will help a lot, according to Oscar Patillo, our guy Oscar from the Bull Blitz chat. Chiefs could lose tonight to Detroit. I mean, they just got done losing to Philly not too long ago. The Lions might be the hottest team in the NFL. I might happen to be in the good old Mitten fucking state. God, look at my hand. They're so bad. No, y'all can't even tell from there. But anyway, just beat the fuck up. Yes, let's do it. I don't do this, but I'm going to do it. I expect the Chiefs to lose tonight and them to fall even further behind. What I hope to avoid is the Chargers not taking advantage of it. Not taking advantage of it would be the problem. Not as bad, but needs improvement. Yeah, David Shaw for sure. Brian Cates, Mold was quick to get back up and tackle the wide receiver twice. Hey, so we've talked about this on the show too. Alex, Elijah's father, he's tried to get on the show. We just haven't been able to get him on here yet. We'll get him on here soon enough or whenever we can. And maybe we never do. Whatever. He's trying. Elijah being back in the lineup is huge. Elijah Molden playing at the level that he's been playing at is why he was signed to the contract that he's at. And it made Alohi Gilman expendable, which also takes a lot of horrible tackling angles out of your secondary. And for anybody who's played football or understands it at all, when your last lines of resort can't tackle or they take poor angles consistently, that's 6 points because every now and then it's just going to be blocked up perfectly. Every now and then the opposing offensive coordinator gets it just right against your defensive coordinator's call. And you really got to try to fucking figure it out. The Lions being on TV tonight against the Chiefs, I honestly had no idea that was a game, so I'm actually really excited. Here's how I'm going to close off this entire show. We're almost close to an hour, so I'm going to run a full hour because why the fuck not? Ryan Fick and your special teams units got to get it together, man. I don't know what's going on. That 45-yard kickoff return to open the game is not the way that a Chargers unit and a Chargers fandom can take the beginning of a game. We're too jaded. We're too hurt. We're too broken. Games need to start in a different fashion. You'll figure it out. I have the utmost confidence in you. Tony Jefferson, like Harbaugh said, he needs to be in the lineup, and he'll continue to stay there. Cameron Dicker, we're done taking you for granted. We're all going to give you the credit that you deserve, and I hope that the Bull fam can do so. I'd like to give a big fuck you to the Jets, by the way. Watch that whole miserable, disgusting game today. They should have beat the Broncos and helped the Chargers out a little bit. They decided against it. Will Disley, if y'all were trying to decide whether or not last year was not real regarding his receiving statistics, it shows you that Herbert had no one else to throw to. Even when Disley's in, it's not like he's a major target. He's just not. He's not. I need people to at least try to apply that to the Justin Herbert narrative. A guy who can't catch the ball had almost 500 yards receiving last year and a lot of receptions and even more targets. We've seen him put the ball on the carpet, drop it, fumble it, whatever. I just need occasionally, and maybe at some point for people to give 10 his flowers. Kimani Vidal, it is worth it right now for me to point out. Sorry, brother. You balled out today. Need more. One game. Listen, I'm too old. I'm way too old. And it's like, why the fuck did you need to prove anything to this guy who goes by the name Booga? You don't. You really don't. You don't. But if you did, it might work out cool for you too. I don't know. I didn't expect him to have the game that he had today. And he had a Brandon Oliver type game, that nondescript, unknown kind of running back game where he just puts numbers out and it's like, oh shit. I guarantee he's getting picked up everywhere in fantasy. Everybody in fantasy football is like, ugh. Vidal and Haskins. By the way, I looked this morning prior to the games. Haskins was being picked up more than Vidal. Y'all don't football. Y'all just don't football. Haskins is there because he's trusted and believed in by Harbaugh and Herbert. You know, the other Herbert, the Ben Herbert. Haskins is a guy who does several things for the team, and he eats up what would be 2 or 3 different players worth of positions. That's why he's out there. But that being said, Kamani Vidal, flowers to you. Appreciate you. Phenomenal game. Didn't expect you to have it. It's been a long show. We hit the hour mark about 12 seconds ago. My boys James Allen, Oscar, Matt Lidioff of ML Bolts Collectibles, the official trading card company, if you will, or LLC, whatever he decides it end up forming, of Bolt Blitz, and of course Bolt Blitz Uncut. I'm Booga Peters. It's a dub. Wasn't pretty. I don't know about you. I don't give a fuck what it looks like as long as the guys in the Lightning Bolts have more points than the other team. Thank y'all for joining me and carrying me through the show. It's been a long one. I'm Booga Peters. We are out right now, but we'll be back soon, Tuesday night. And don't forget, the Bolt Blitz fucking ice cream socials coming up. Amy Trask of the Raiders, Matt Hamilton, formerly of GMFB and the producer of the Kay Adams Show, and then Ben Albright, maybe the most controversial Broncos coverage guy in all of the internet. We don't talk about his problems because he already did, but if you don't want to miss it, we're eating ice cream, we're drinking beer, and all of our other extracurricular activities for the Bolt Blitz fucking ice cream mixer. October 28th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This has been Bolt Blitz Uncut. I can't tell you how much I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you so much.